everyone, and welcome to another session of Editor Session. This is Cap Maceda Aguila, Editor-in-Chief of Carmudi Philippines and Zigwheels Philippines. And today, we're very privileged to have with us Mr. Dax Avedido, Assistant General Manager and Head of Communications of Nissan Philippines Incorporated. Hello, Dax. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us and agreeing to appear on Editor Session.
Thank you, Cap. It's very nice to be here. Thank you for having me. We would love to have this face-to-face, but this is our new normal.
Exactly. And we're talking about how we have to make do, and we just have to maximize on things that we can leverage. And this is one of them. And so this is actually the fourth edition of Editor Session. And this is our chance to reach out to automobile executives and let them talk to our audience through Carmudi Philippines and Zigwheels Philippines, and just to catch up with you guys and let us know how you are during these so-called new normal days. Okay, so let's get right to it. First off, how is Nissan Philippines in this new normal? Please talk about maybe we can backtrack on when the lockdown first occurred, and can you walk us through the impact on the business, particularly your workforce and your customers, and everything that you can talk about regarding that.
Mm-hmm. All right. So thank you, Cap. Thank you for this opportunity. Yes, we understand that this is becoming our new normal already. Going through the lockdown when it was announced for us, I think that was in mid-March, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Also, so we started going through the lockdown. So immediately, for Nissan Philippines, the safety of our employees, of course, would always be our priority. Especially during the time that the lockdown or the enhanced community quarantine was announced. So during that time, what Nissan Philippines did was we moved to working from home. 100% of our employees were actually working from home, just primarily because of the lockdown, and most of our dealers as well in Metro Manila completely stopped their operations because, of course, in compliance to the announcement of the government. So pretty much about more than a month or almost 2 months, if I may say, we were really not doing any operations for our customers during that time. I think there was also a time that it was also gradual because some of the LGUs from the provincial areas also followed our Metro Manila or Luzon declaration. So that's why most of our dealers nationwide during the advent of the lockdown were also closed. So, and for Nissan Philippines, most of our employees are actually working from home. Of course, we need to prioritize health and safety of our employees, and at the same time, we need to continue our business. We need to ensure that our business will continue during this times. And I think it was there were a lot of learnings. As we were talking about earlier, we are not strangers to a working from home kind of setup, because even before the lockdown started, or even before the pandemic even happened, Nissan Philippines has already been implementing a work from home session, although during that time it was much less. But since of course, taking that learnings from that policy that we have even before the pandemic, we were able to implement it right away when Metro Manila was locked down, and we were able to continue our business or our operations even during the lockdown.
So that's very encouraging to know that, and a little surprising that you guys were probably a little more prepared for the work from home normal than probably other companies. So safe to say that you guys more like were better equipped to transition into this kind of work arrangement? Like more of your people were able to do their jobs from the comforts of their home and the safety of their
Yes.
homes.
That is right. That is right. So we have, as you know, since we are also working across the region and across the globe, we communicate with a lot of our counterparts from our regional office or even from our global office. I think that has been set up already, and we already, it was easy for us, as you've said. It was easy and convenient for us to definitely switch to working from home arrangements because of the lockdown.
That's good to know. Okay. And then can you also share with us, earlier I was asking you also, like, I know that you guys did your part in terms of helping, of course, COVID-19 frontliners, particularly the health workers. Please talk about that.
Yeah, because especially during when the lockdown already started and we were seeing numbers of COVID infected patients increasing during that time, it was good and it's also noble from our dealer side that they also did some help or assistance to not just, I remember not just the medical frontliners, because as you know, there are a lot of frontliners that especially during the lockdown, and we appreciate all their efforts. And this is the only thing or one little way that we can help is to really support them, maybe by giving food packs, because as you know, especially for medical frontliners, our patients were really increasing and then flocking to the hospitals, right? So our dealers, some of our dealers also created that effort to help our medical frontliners by giving food packs. And because of that, it was very inspiring because one of our employees, actually, I will just do a shameless plug. His name is Mr. Rolly Navarro.
Uh-huh.
He's also a musician, if I may say. So he actually created a song, like a tribute to the frontliners. So we created that, composed the pictures, because we were also releasing some some ambulances or patient transport vehicles, something like that, in support to some government agencies also. So we created a sort of an MTV or a video featuring that song also as a tribute to the frontliners, both in medical field and in the rest of the other fields. In terms of efforts of Nissan Philippines, we're also working on a donation project, of course, on how we can support our frontliners. So we're currently working with that because, as um, the work of our frontliners doesn't stop even we lift the lockdown, right? So
True, true.
it will never stop there. So I think they would really look forward to a continued support from the private sector. So we're actually working on that as well. And aside from that, I think globally, our company is also helping out support the frontliners by creating, PPEs, ventilators, machineries that will help fight the COVID-19.
Hmm. Okay, good to know. Now, next, of course, everyone knows, while we're doing this interview, we just heard actually yesterday that the
Yeah,
president has announced that he will be loosening the quarantine restrictions in Metro Manila or in NCR, and we're going from MECQ to GCQ, or General Community
right.
Quarantine. Now, part of the general community quarantine means that some businesses will be allowed to operate again, albeit on limited basis. Can you
Mm-hmm.
tell us what this means for particularly your dealerships of Nissan, and what can people look forward to in terms of this new normal, that people who may visit your dealerships for, let's say, or your casa for PMS, other repairs, and for those probably looking to buy a vehicle, can you walk us through what's going to happen or what they can expect?
So yeah, it's actually very good for us, Cap, no, that we're starting to loosen or relax the lockdown. Even when Metro Manila was moved to MECQ, or the Modified Enhanced Community Quarantine, I know that we have already, even before it happened, we have been preparing our dealers already when when the MECQ would be changed, because during that time we wouldn't know, because as you know, it was the government's final decision on how to classify a certain quarantine lockdown or something. But before we moved to MECQ, I remember that we are already prepping our dealers, giving them protocols and policies to to help serve our customers better. Because for us, as our president and managing director, Mr. Najima has said that um, our customer service is not going, our target or our priority of customer service will not be changing, or how of course we serve our customers, but the way we deliver our service from here on, because we're coming from a lockdown, that will definitely be changed now, of course, complying with the policies, and not just national policy, but also local government. We're also complying with that. So that's why the delivery of our customer service might change at that instance. So during the MECQ, if I remember correctly, when Metro Manila and most of the country was moved to MECQ, a lot of our dealers started opening, but but the provincial dealers had to coordinate with their LGUs, because it was the LGU's decision if they were allowed to open. But at least for Metro Manila, our dealers started to operate already. But of course, following a lot of protocols, especially when it comes to interfacing. For one, of course, when we moved to MECQ, our dealers moved to disinfection and sanitation of all the facility, because as you know, we've been closed for a couple of weeks, or almost 2 months, so they
Months,
had to
yeah.
go through a lot of disinfection of their facilities, and so that they can start operations. Of course, we will try to limit the number of customers that are coming to our dealerships as well. And what we are encouraging our customer is for them to set an appointment, especially for either service, or if they want to meet and check out a vehicle, set an appointment with the dealership, call their nearest dealership, or they can schedule or set a schedule coordinating with our NCAC, or Nissan Customer Service Assistance Hotline, so that they can call that, so that at least when they come to the dealership, our frontliners or our sales force or even our after sales will be ready to receive them.
Okay. So
So
this
once
is,
they come to,
sorry.
go ahead, Seb.
So this is true for both people who are coming in for servicing, and then also for
Yes,
people who would like to browse your showroom,
yes.
vehicles in your showroom. Okay.
hmm
So they
Well,
just need
aside from
to
that,
make prior arrangements. Can they
correct.
do this
Yes,
via phone and via
yes.
your social media channels too?
Yeah, via phone, perhaps they can also, they can do call our dealerships, or the nearest Nissan dealer in their area. They can call the dealership, plus also they can call our hotline, our NCAC hotline. It's also in our Facebook page, so they can look up the number there and make arrangements prior to going to the dealerships.
Perfect. Okay. And then also, when you were talking about sanitation, of course, I think there are a lot of commonalities as far as dealership or showroom experiences will go, right? And I think Nissan will not deviate from this generally accepted normal, which is like there will be disinfecting, of course, the use of PPE, and then how else will how can you like tell us in greater detail? Let's say if I'm a customer and I'm going to go into a Nissan showroom, how would that visit look like?
Yeah, I think everybody or our customers would be familiar with that, especially if going through the lockdown, and it's like when they're buying their essentials during the lockdown period. So I think it's the same policy that we will be employing also, that when they arrive in the dealership, of course, a contactless temperature check will be done. And of course, disinfecting solutions are also available around our dealership, so they can, disinfect their hands and all that while going through the showroom or while waiting at the waiting lounge for a service of their car. PPEs are also available. Of course, it's not the full body PPE because I think it's limited to the hospitals. So we will be providing masks also to those customers who are not wearing. So we will be encouraging our customers to constantly wear their mask inside the premises of our dealerships. Plus, of course, observing social distancing. I think that's the most important to really, of course, support. You know, making the spread, reducing the spread of the virus. Yeah.
Okay. And then, of course, also in your showrooms or in your dealerships, not only are there customers, but also, of course, the people, particularly the technicians or the mechanics that you have in your service base. How will the experience be like for them in terms, I mean, to help protect them during this time?
Yeah, I think the key part there would be the social distancing, because yes, there will be technicians. These are the back end technicians, that because usually when you go for a service, it would be the service advisor that you interface with. So that's how it is. And then when your car goes in, so the technicians are there ready to repair your cars and fix or do the PMS or do the regular servicing that you're requiring as a customer. So for the technicians, at least it's the usual wearing of mask, not social distancing, because usually I think, if I remember correctly, in our express base during PMS, there's two service technicians that works on your car. So I think practicing social distancing and while wearing PPEs, specifically masks and gloves, that will be the primary objective or the primary actions that our dealers will be doing.
All right. Okay, that's good to know. Also, I mentioned earlier, and I've heard reports that people from the banks are saying that they are expecting, and I would like to knock on wood here, but that there might be defaults as far as people who are paying for a car through financing. So
That's
the
right.
banking sector is kind of anticipating that already. And for Nissan's part, are you guys working on, let's say, something to provide at least some financial relief for your existing customers whose lives maybe, or livelihood for that matter, may have been disrupted by this whole COVID thing?
Yeah, we've actually planned for that as well, Capno. Thank you for asking that question. Well, we have made several announcements to really help our customers that were affected by the pandemic, or at least by the lockdown. Starting with, of course, our warranty. We have extended our warranty coverage to up to 60 days, including our PMS, especially if their warranty lapses within the lockdown period. So we've done that also. And then since we also have a financing partner, we call it the Nissan Finance, which is powered by East West Bank. They've also made arrangements to help customers that are paying for their Nissan vehicles on a monthly basis, that extending their the amortization. So they can look that up also from our Facebook, and they can also coordinate with, if they are financed, or if they got their vehicles through a financing with Nissan Finance or powered by East West Bank, they can call East West Bank and ask for the details for that. But yes, we have come up with those programs to help our customers that were affected, by the lockdown or by the enhanced community quarantine.
All right, that's good to know. Very, very good to know.
Mhm.
Okay, now that we're talking about the effects of this whole COVID crisis, no, um, here's actually it's a universal question that a lot of people were asking even before the lockdown. Uh, in Nissan's case, should they worry about part supply disruption? Would this affect, for instance, consumables during PMS, or maybe even minor parts that need to be replaced probably regularly or semi-regularly? Yeah, we can tackle that first, because I'd like to know if there's a reason for Nissan customers to be worried that there might be a shortage of parts or replacement parts for their Nissan.
You know what? Well, this is also a very good question, Cap. For us, this is something that we're continuously monitoring, Cap. So far, as the other countries are also recovering from the pandemic, especially those that are within our supply chain, right? We have not heard any big impact in our part supply so far. However, of course, since they're starting to recover from their different stages of lockdowns or quarantines, we're closely monitoring and coordinating with them. And then of course we will be making adjustments as we move along if there will be, but at least rest assured for our customers that we have no major impact in terms of supply disruption for our parts.
That's good to know. Okay, now the next question would be to those people who are, how about those people who are thinking of getting a new Nissan?
Mhm.
There are also, of course, there are also good reports. If we look at other countries who have come out of lockdown, and there are actually surprising reports that show there was pent up demand in terms of need to buy vehicles. So there were actually
Mhm.
spikes. Are you? I'd like to be a positive thinker that way, and I'd like to think that our industry will also recover that way. So let's look ahead. Can people who are thinking about getting a Nissan anytime soon, will they be? Are they? I mean, is the supply assured? Are there lots of inventory for you guys?
Nothing to worry about, Cap. As we've mentioned, perhaps the delivery will, siguro the purchase process will be different from here on because of going through the lockdown, right? But there's nothing to worry about. Our dealers are well stocked. We also have good stock levels from our inventory as well. So if customers are interested to buy any Nissan, so that's any Nissan vehicle, they can just call the dealership, because as you know, with the pandemic, it's gonna be different now. You'll see, before the lockdown, you know, Nissan cars would be displayed always on the malls, right? And then customers can
Yes.
go there and then check out their vehicles, do their inquiries there, and maybe get quotations, so that they can already start planning on how they can purchase those vehicles. But those things will change. A lot of efforts I see now, if to be honest, a lot of our dealers are already moving to digital. They're walking our customers through on a digital platform, walking them through, a certain vehicle. If they're interested, they can look at those the Facebook accounts of our dealerships. Um, Also, when it comes to promotions, we'll definitely see more of Nissan on the digital space. um, as you know, because this will be our new normal, to limit, to promote social distancing, reduce the spread of the virus. So I think this is one way of not just Nissan, but at least the automotive industry is doing to fight, in our fight
Yeah.
for against the COVID-19. But also, when it comes to, um, Uh, what was your next question, Cap? Was it
Like
stock level? Stock level?
yes, yes. Stocks for like certain models are all models well stocked with inventory at this point?
Yeah. Well, for our dealers, there's been no report on any reduction or any lacking of supply. So not much. But of course, as you mentioned in your first statement, if we are going to experience an upsurge, we're really hoping once we get eased out with the lockdown. But yes, as you know, the industry, there have been reports. I'm sure you've seen those reports that the industry is really not anticipating a remarkable year for 2020. As you know,
Yeah.
there's going to be a huge reduction on our sales um, for this year. And as you know, of course, with the support, the fundamental support team for us, in order for us to sell, like banks,
Yes.
are also quite affected by the pandemic. So, well, hopefully, if our customers are interested, they can just call our dealerships and ask for an appointment, or maybe they can go into this kind of telecommuting method to speak to a dealer or an agent to inquire
Mhm,
about their vehicles also.
mhm. I like it that you mentioned earlier about you know purchases going digital or possibly this is the most logical way to curtail contact, right? Like physical.
Mm.
This is the ultimate social distancing method, right? Is to go digital. And I know in our previous Zoom call where we did some catching up, you did mention uh, the prospects probably of opening up a digital showroom.
Yeah.
Is this something that we can see rolling out in the near future if it hasn't rolled out yet for like certain dealerships? And this is something that Nissan Philippines as a whole is promoting for its dealership network?
Yes, thank you for mentioning that, Cap. One is, of course, the dealers are really moving into the digital platform now. I think in the sense that pushing sales, trying to get leads and contacts through the digital space are actually being done during the lockdown. Now that our lockdown is also being eased out, so the dealers have been constantly doing that as well. I think there were some efforts from the dealers also wherein they contact their customers if they have problems with their vehicles through this, and then they can guide them through a diagnosis of the vehicle. Siguro with that, and then after that, kung may major problem yung sasakyan, they can just connect to the dealer and then sige, schedule a repair going to dealers. And they can schedule their trip to the dealers also. Yes, in terms of the virtual showroom, I think it will be fast track now. It has been in our pipeline. As you know, if I remember when I started with Nissan has really been into the digital space ever since. So it's really been within our plans. But now that this pandemic or this lockdown happened to us, it will be fast tracked. Of course, because that is the way that we can serve our customers better also, especially now that customers would just want to stay at home, because we still know that there's still a scare. Our numbers are still not, and to be honest, it's still not, it's still going up. So but it should not stop us from continuing our business and to continue serving our customers. So those plans, especially to maximize the digital space, will be fast tracked from here on.
Okay. Now I've seen two things that are probably a little fortuitous for you guys. No, first is that you mentioned that you guys were already doing some kind of or some level of working from home before, so you were a
Mm-hmm.
bit ready for this lockdown where work from home suddenly became a requirement. And then now
Right.
digitization also. You guys are also, you said, even way before the pandemic even was in the radar. You guys were preparing to go digital anyway. So again, you're
Mm-hmm.
probably it's not something very new to you guys, and probably this will
Mm-hmm.
help you get into it much faster than if you weren't ready for it, right?
That's right. So it was also a good thing. I think a lot of lessons learned coming from this pandemic, cap note, and then yeah, I think it's also within us to be agile and be flexible to whatever our customers would really want after we come out from the lockdown, right? So at least the agility of us to serve our customers, that's something that we are also prioritizing and working on as a company.
All right, great, great. Okay, next slide is, I see you smiling already, because this, ladies and gentlemen, is a very fresh development as we're recording this.
Up.
Just as for a background, yesterday I attended probably my first, what do you call this, press
Virtual press
conference via,
conference.
yeah, via YouTube. It was live streamed from Japan, of course, right? Where the CEO, CFO, and COO of Nissan Motors spoke at length about number one, 2019 financial results, and I probably don't want to talk about that much. But what I'm interested about is the FY20 to 23, the 4-year transformational plan for Nissan. And of course, I warned you beforehand, but um, I want to get the sense of what you can talk about then, because uh, coming from that press conference yesterday, that virtual press conference yesterday, I frankly was, number one, surprised, and number two, I'm excited for what's gonna happen next for Nissan. Probably just to lay down the foundation of our what I want to talk about is, I mentioned to you earlier, I saw two takeaways from that press con. Number one is rationalization, meaning Nissan wants to take a hard look at its resources, its facilities, and it wants to, how shall we say it? Yeah, rationalize or try to manage costs during this very difficult period. And then number two, I also heard that you guys are moving forward. You're looking at cutting maybe the number of models by 20%. That's one of the takeaways also. And you guys will be focusing on your core models. Can you share with us what you can share with us about the exciting future, this 4-year transformative plan for Nissan?
Okay. Yeah. I think it was very informative press conference that we've heard yesterday, and I think it already. I think the message from our global office, coming from our CEO, has already been out. The message of transformation, and of course, prioritizing the profitability as well, with not just of Nissan, but also within the alliance. I think most has been said. All we have to do now, as coming, being here in the Philippines, is to wait for other announcements as well. And I think, coming from that, a lot of stories will be written, and if a lot of questions are still up, definitely. But I think our global office will be ready to answer them
Yeah.
also.
I feel so lucky to have been able. I think I'm the first to talk to you right after that, right?
Yes, definitely.
So,
It was
yeah,
very fresh. It was very fresh. It was just yesterday. There were, we were also in high anticipations as well, because, as you know, we were, I guess, being a part of the Nissan family. I've been waiting for that announcement as well, and see what our, global leaders will be saying, right? Because one, of course, we'll see. We definitely are anticipating if there would be impact to different businesses. Of course, especially if I'm in here in the Philippines, I'm concerned about that as well.
that's right. What struck me about yesterday's press conference is that your leaders appear to be very honest and very forthright about things. I mean, I just like to share also with our audience that one of the things the CEO, Mr. Uchida, said yesterday, that he was going to take a 50% pay cut.
Yeah.
So I think one of the journalists was asking that, like, because of course, if people didn't know it yet, Nissan went through a hard time last year, and so it was like he was facing it, and okay. This. It's regrettable that the negative growth happened, but this is what we're gonna do moving forward. And one of those things also of interest, should particular interest to Filipinos probably. I'm going to say it now. The COO, Mr. Gupta, announced that they are looking at manufacturing Nissan vehicles at, get this, the Mitsubishi plant in Santa Rosa. Yes, this is in the Philippines. This is gonna happen. Uh, of course, you guys all know that Nissan and Mitsubishi have an alliance along with Renault.
Renault, yeah.
Yes, and so it seems to be very exciting days ahead for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
What's your personal reaction to that piece of news?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something. It's quite an exciting news for us, especially in the Nissan world. Philippines is also performing well with those kinds of developments and announcement. Well, it really makes us excited as become as a part of the Nissan family, also, especially here in the Philippines, to see and anticipate those kinds of plans. But perhaps moving forward, after that has been announced, we will see how it develops, and we will make the proper announcements if we're ready to give more details about it.
Yes. And it was very heartening as a Filipino, it was very heartening for me to hear him say that we are the second biggest market in ASEAN. The Philippines is, no, for Nissan, and he even specifically pointed out that we are big in terms of the SUV and the pickup, right? We are big SUV and pickup. We're a
LCVs,
big,
yeah, LCV.
yes, and pickup market. So, of course, I know that you can't answer anything related to that right now, but probably
Yeah.
educated guess, we might see local production of SUVs and pickups here for Nissan. It's very tempting to make that inference.
No, I think that's something that we will be firming up. As of now, I think since the announcement has just been fresh, and of course we will be coordinating with our global regional offices on how we can really move forward coming from that announcement.
All right, so exciting days ahead for us, Dax.
That's
You
right.
and me.
That's right. Watch out for Nissan.
Yeah. Okay, so final words. Like what? I know that everyone's at the level playing field. I mean, as far as automotive brands are concerned. But what is your message to all your Nissan customers and fans out there who are, like I mentioned earlier, probably before the year started, they were thinking, I'm gonna buy a Nissan in 2020, or I really want that Terra. So what's gonna happen? What does the rest of the year look like for you personally, and probably as a Nissan executive?
Well, thank you, Cap. As we've mentioned, of course, we will definitely our key priority now would be the safety of our customers, and while also continuing our business, also our customers would be the main or the biggest stakeholder that we would like to that we will be traversing this you can call challenge through, right? So, but for Nissan, will definitely as a message to our customers, they will definitely see us more, because as the new normal, we will be maximizing our efforts on the digital space. Of course, we will still continue to promote and comply with the policies of our government, especially on safety and health. But rest assured that, of course, our Nissan dealerships and Nissan Philippines is ready to serve our customers.
Can we expect a new vehicle from you this year?
Secrets out.
Tagal mo
Not
inisip
yet,
yun,
not yet. Inisip ko, Meron nga ba? Meron nga ba? But yeah, we'll definitely make the announcements, Cap, about that. But yes, it's we still try to keep it as an exciting year for Nissan Philippines
Yeah,
and of course to our customers as well.
it's still just June when this will air. So there's still a lot of months left in 2020. So I guess I
Yeah,
will
but,
take
but
that to yeah.
basically it's we have just started our fiscal year, because it's
Oh,
for us it's the fiscal
okay.
year, so we're still in our first quarter, so watch out for more announcements that will be happening
More
in
new
the future.
vehicles.
I'm not saying that though, but yes, we'll of course adjusting to the new normal. We will see how we can really maximize our service to our customers following the new normal.
All right. Thank you very much again, Dax, for appearing on Carmudi Philippines and Zigwheels Philippines editor session. Um, please comment below when we post this. Please comment below if you want to ask other about other topics we probably didn't talk about. Ask him about new models and other stuff that you want to ask about Nissan
Sure.
and its dealerships and its promos. Um, so that's it for me. On behalf of everyone at Carmudi Philippines and Zigwheels Philippines, this has been Cap Maceda Aguila for editor session. We'll see you again soon.